You can see, yes. Okay, so let's pin that up there. Okay, so this, you can see here in this shot, there's a number of things going on here. This is the information off the back of the camera. In and out, focus. Put it on autofocus. There we go. There, you can see a histogram in there. If you look at from the shot from the iPhone beside the camera, that piece of paper in the back, that seamless, is gray, and it should look neutral, not cold, not warm, just neutral. You can see from left to right, there's a color temperature change. If we look at the histogram, if I move my shutter speed down, that histogram moves towards the left side of the exposure. So that's underexposed. As I increase the amount of time that the camera exposes the sensor, I can see that this keeps on going. The histogram keeps moving. I start to get further and further away from being, quote, normal exposure. The best, if we look at the meter on the side, on the right there, it's going to tell me what it considers to be normal is there. So that's roughly the lines in the middle at the 0 at plus or minus. But it's not, for me, it's kind of dark if I compare to what I see in the phone camera here and to what you guys see from my other camera. There's a change in exposure. So I think the more accurate exposure is up here somewhere, because that's a lighter gray than the camera's seeing. So I'm fooling the camera here. So I'm going to shoot it at a 13th of a second, f8. I could change my aperture, get more depth of field, but it's going to get darker, so I have to open it up. To going wide open, wow, it's like blown out. So obviously I've got the histogram has to pull down to being something in the middle, closer to that. Okay, so now color temperature. So for your scene, you're going to put it to automatic exposure. So essentially figure out where the exposure should be and put it there. Then you're going to go into your color temperature thing, and then here I press on this guy. And now I have a number of these presets in each camera. These are what they will look like most likely. You'll have daylight, you'll have cloudy day, you'll have open shade, you'll have tungsten, you'll have fluorescent, you'll have flash, and then you have a Kelvin, which is based on whatever you want to set in terms of Kelvin units, and then a whole bunch of presets. So for this guy, for this assignment, I want you to shoot one shot. I'm just trying to get to the right menu. One shot at daylight balanced. So on this one, if I go OK, and then back, the right side of the stuffed animal should look neutral. And I'm going to bring it down in exposure so we can see that. It should look neutral, okay? And if I turn off my tungsten light, which I will endeavor to do, I'll get, so this is essentially the daylight portion of this assignment. So I've got maybe not this high contrast light that you want to do, but this is balanced for daylight. I take one picture, there, and then there it is. Come back, and then I switch the color balance here from daylight. I wanted, I think I said cloudy, right? Cloudy, and it's slightly warmer. Wait, I've got to set that right. It didn't set. Oh, cloudy, and then OK. There. Okay, so it's slightly warmer because
can't see.
Oh, you can't see. Is it gone off?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That's crazy. Computers, thank you for letting me know. There. Okay. Yes. Okay. So daylight is different from cloudy day because cloudy days are considered cooler in color temperature. So color temperature of a cloudy day is somewhere around 6,000 Kelvin. Daylight is somewhere around 5,600 Kelvin. So that's your 5,600 Kelvin there. And then you take a picture there, click, switch the color balance to cloudy day, press OK, click, another picture, change again to, I think the next one was tungsten. There you go. Wow, what a change, eh? Tungsten being Uh, 3200, 2800 Kelvin, way down the scale. So anything that's not 2400, 2800 Kelvin will look cooler. Anything above that will look cooler in terms of light. So that's that color temperature there. Then we go from that one to fluorescent. And why does it look pink or magenta or purple? Because most fluorescents are green in their general aspect. So in order to make it a green light neutral, you have to put a lot of magenta into the image, right? So you think about it in terms of color theory. What's the opposite of green? Magenta. What's the opposite of warm or orange? Is blue or cyan. What's the opposite of blue? Yellow. So that's where you go. So in order to compensate for that, come back, camera. There. You have to put more into the color. So, and then one more you want to do at color balance, but you want to do this one at auto white balance, and this one is called, where is it? Preset. Auto white balance there. And then you take that picture there. Come back. Okay, so under tungsten, under daylight, when the camera is set to daylight, this scene that you're looking at should look neutral. Under auto white balance, it should look neutral too. Under cloudy day, it should just look slightly warm. Under tungsten, it should look really cold. Under fluorescent lighting, it should look pink. Okay, that's because my light source is daylight balanced. So this would be the equivalent of you shooting outside. Okay, so in that case, let's go back to setting it up as if it's daylight. There, direct sunlight. There we go. And I press that to get back. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my tungsten light on and turn my daylight light off. By the way, tungsten lights use so much more power. Like literally, like the wattage that comes out of that, the two lights are equivalent in luminance values, in lux values, but the one on the daylight uses about 1/10 the amount of power that the tungsten light uses. So tungsten looks really warm when the camera is set to daylight. But if I change that to tungsten, it looks normal. Okay? If I change the tungsten sensitive, the camera sensitivity to fluorescent, it's going to look magenta, less blue, much warmer. If I change it to cloudy day, it's going to look really warm because suddenly it's seeing the light as being warm. And then if I change it to daylight, it's going to look even more warm, basically. And if I set to auto white balance, it should look back to being neutral. Okay. Your auto white balance will vary depending on what your scene is. So if you're shooting your red dog against those red wood stairs, the camera's going to assume that the light's really warm under auto white balance, and it will make the dog look kind of gray, and the walls will go blue around it. So it's these settings that you want to switch on your cameras. In your menus, I will find the page in the menus for the 60s, or the 60Ds, and then I'll show you how to do it. But there, it's basically you're going to have there's the same sort of preset pictures, similar to these ones here, right? So the tungsten will look like a light bulb. Fluorescent will look like a tube with lines coming out of it. Auto white balance will be AWB of some sort. Daylight will look like the sun, and a cloudy day will look like the cloudy day. Open shade is even cooler light, because if you think about it, what is lighting you when you're in the shade of a building out of direct sun on a full sun day? It's the sky. And what color is the sky? Well, on my planet, it's blue. On Tatooine, it's a different color. And Mars, it's a different color. But here, it's blue. So you're lit by really blue light. So open shade is around 6,000 Kelvin, much cooler than daylight. So that's essentially it. So it's those 6 shots. Let's switch back to the other camera. The dog is at my feet. Hello, dog. So there's Mooey. Say bye to Mooey. And we're going to go to the FaceTime camera. Yay! Me again. So simply enough, I want to see that range of the exposure is the same, but the color should change through the shots. The two that will be similar will be an auto white balance in daylight and an auto white balance in tungsten, depending on the light source that you're doing. In the assignment sheet, I will switch that to that. There are naming instructions there, okay? So 12 maximum quality full frame JPEGs, so full off JPEGs, and then 2 maximum quality raw images. So I think I showed you how this setting. So basically what you're going to be, your camera should be at this point be set to shooting both JPEGs and raw. For the first part of the assignment, all I want is the JPEGs. For the second part of the assignment, all I want is 2 raw files, one in each lighting condition. And the reason that is because we're going to take those raw files the week after the break, and in class we're going to bring them in and we're going to neutralize with your picture, because hopefully someone's holding a card or a white card, and we're going to neutralize to that with the raw file. And it doesn't matter what your camera's settings are at that point, because you're telling the computer what the color of the color temperature of the light is in the computer rather than in the camera. And it's in fact the best way to go. My rule of thumb when I'm shooting, and because I'm always shooting raw and I don't shoot JPEGs. I'm always shooting raw, and I'm pretty much always shooting in daylight of some sort. I basically weld my camera to being daylight film based cameras. I make the color balance daylight balanced all the time. One that allows me to see in the camera the difference between light sources around there, and it doesn't let the shot get skewed by auto white balance. But even if I'm shooting indoors, it looks warm and cozy. It's nice. And because I'm shooting raw, I can come back to the studio here, and in the computer, I can neutralize it, because hopefully at some point I've either shot a picture of this gray card, or I've had something like maybe not this brown sweater, but maybe a gray hat or something, my gray beard, something that I know is close to normal. And at that point, I create the color balance, and then I can tune it from there. When I'm looking at architectural stuff, I have to deal with a lot of things, not just the light sources in the room or the light coming into the room, but also reflections of things outside, like trees, coloring the inside of the room. Does the architect want it to look natural, or do they want it to look, clinical? That's when color balance becomes that sort of expression of, an understanding of what is good, or what creates the mood that you want in the shot. So that's sort of the whole point. Color balance is, I think, above and beyond exposure and depth of field, is the one thing that creates the most mood particularly in an interior or architectural shot, because you got to think about it all the time. Color sets the mood right away. Like, you can change the color of the feeling of a room by changing the paint in a room, the color temperature of the walls. Different colors create different emotions in people, and that works with photography too. We can skew shots towards warm or towards cold, depending on how we want to make that scene feel. The same photograph of a doctor in a lab coat can look sinister under green light, or leaning towards green orange, green yellow, than it would if you were shooting the picture of them under neutral or clean light. Then you feel like, oh, the doctor's nice, and the office is clean, and I can go there. Or if you go to the dentist office and it's painted, it's green and brown, and you kind of go, I kind of feel like this isn't really where I want to open my mouth, let alone take my coat off. So, or take my coat off, let alone open my mouth. So that's a really important choice for creatively in terms of voicing what you want to say to somebody. So that's the number thing. And then the name thing is important. So name each file according to the lighting conditions, and the white balance it is demonstrating for the example: last name, first name, assignment, light conditions, white balance setting. So that's, for example, the example would be Waller Andrew, assignment 3, outdoor lighting conditions, tungsten setting. Okay, and then Waller, Andrew, 3, indoor lighting conditions, raw, because I'm shooting the raw on this one. And P.S. Don't name them all Andrew Waller or Waller, because it would get confusing at that point. Because I'm Andrew and you're not. Oh, I'm Andrew and you're not. No. So that's about it for the excitement for today. I'm obviously here over the break, which is I'm gonna go see. I missed you last week, and now I'm missing you again. It's not fair. But I'm around. So if you want to shoot me questions or samples of your work as you're going, shoot it away. I'm usually pretty good at answering stuff. I apologize if I missed a few of you. If I miss you, just email me again. I just have that much going on. So you guys are my top priority. So one of my many top priorities. So otherwise, I will see you the week after next. Enjoy the break. Those of you who want to redo a project too, would you want us to hand it in? If you want to redo a project, hand it in when you can. I would prefer that the stuff for the first half of the term get all redone by the end of reading week. So next class would be great. I'm going to do most of the marking on that weekend of that. So, but yeah, because I want to get the marks of midterms up to date so you're all ready to go where you need to be. I'm going to mark these ones this weekend, and then we'll get to hopefully the new stuff that next weekend after, and then we're on to the next assignment. So you can see lots of adding up. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all for putting up with my bad jokes. So otherwise, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. And if you stick around, I'm going to be here for questions. Otherwise, have fun, man.